So today, I don't know if anyone's been paying much attention to the Kyle Rittenhouse case. I've been watching it nonstop. I've been watching it over on Rakita Media, his YouTube channel, which is just blowing up. Really hyped for my buddy Nick. He deserves it. He's funny and
And
is
can I
very
just jump in and say
articulate.
too, Adam,
Yeah, please
that
do.
you were the first person that introduced me to Rakita Law. So I was like, you know what? Adam knew about Rakita way before anybody else. Shout out to my man Adam, because he was ahead of the curve on this one.
Yeah, I've been friends with Nick for a while. He's been on my show a few times. I've been on his show many times. I like to crash his show and make fun of him. And I mean, he makes fun of himself. And I like people that can do that because they're usually more fun to be around because they don't take things personally. And Nick is the embodiment of that. And he also dishes it out as well. Anyway, I've been watching his stream, which I still have up, by the way. I wasn't sure if the jury was going to deliberate or not. We aren't. It seems that we're not going to get a verdict today. The jury were deliberating all day today, and it seems that from reporting, I'm just going to get right into it because this is pressing news essentially, and the title of the stream. So it turns out that there are two jurors that are not rendering a verdict for fear of backlash, and that is absolutely insane to think about. This is the source. I got it from Jack Posobiec. He posted this tweet. Is this working? There we go. He posted this tweet, which of course I responded by saying not guilty. All right. He said two jurors holding decision up outright, citing backlash per U.S. Marshal in Kenosha. Now he continues and he says they're worried about media leaking their names, what will happen to their families, jobs, etc., including doxing threats from anarchist groups. Now we actually know that there are videos of this. This is George Floyd's nephew, Cortez Rice. He's actually talking, and this is a video from him driving somewhere. Who knows where he's actually going, but he's talking in this video. I'll actually just play it. Forgive me, I have to actually re-add it because I want you guys to be able to hear this, and I'm not sure if me adding it before. I have to share my audio. Okay, now you guys can hear it. This is the video of him talking about essentially doxing the jurors.
I ain't even gonna name the people that I know that's up in the Kenosha. I mean, in the Kenosha trial, but there's cameras in there.
He's saying that he knows people that are in the courtroom.
It's definitely cameras up in there, and there's definitely people taking pictures of the juries and everything like that.
And he knows that seemingly knows that there's people taking pictures of the jurors.
We know what's going on, so we need the same results, man. We need the same results. Justice for Dante Wright, justice for Austin.
Okay, so this is him admitting that they have people in the courtroom documenting who the jurors are and passing that information along. Now that I'm fairly certain that's a felony. Is that not a felony? I'm pretty sure it's a felony. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure that's very, very illegal to do that.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw the Fox News article that actually came out on November 9th, Adam, but apparently deputies outside of the courthouse did catch somebody filming jurors as they were entering the courthouse.
Really?
And they were ordered to delete that footage. So, I mean, the evidence has already come out that jurors are being filmed, and we are currently seeing the mob that has since formed ahead of this verdict. We know that the National Guard is ready to be deployed ahead of the verdict as well. And why is that? Because as we can see, tensions already rising outside of that courthouse.
Yep. It's pretty crazy. And and this is a shout out to the Panda Tribune. This is a satire. It's basically like a competitive to Babylon Bee, and I'll just show you their tweet. They actually say to themselves, #2 conservative outlet for satire / memes and sometimes real news analysis. Great follow. You should definitely follow them. But they post here on Jack's tweet, ironically, the two jurors who don't seem confident that law enforcement will protect them are fearing for their safety from the same mob that Kyle was when he acted in self-defense. I mean, he's right. He's right. These jurors are afraid of for their lives, for their families, for their jobs, because of this mob that will attack them. That's not guilty. If it was guilty, they wouldn't be afraid. because that's what they
100%.
want.
Exactly, Adam. And we saw this with the Chauvin trial as well. I honestly think that the verdict in regard to Derek Chauvin being found guilty was because of mob rule, because we knew that it was
Absolutely.
going to be the George Floyd riots part 2 if he was
Yep.
not declared guilty. I'm of the firm belief, and I say this on my YouTube channel, and I'm not sure about the restrictions, but I'm of the firm belief that George Floyd did die from a fentanyl overdose. If
Didn't
you
they
look
prove
at the
that? Isn't that like scientific evidence has proven that he died from a fentanyl overdose?
Exactly, 100%. But
Right.
because of big tech regulations, that could
Mhm.
be deemed misinformation, even though in the back of the police car, George Floyd was saying, "I can't breathe," well before he was down on the ground or there was a knee anywhere near his neck. But
And
look
he
what happened.
said for them to do that. Put me on
Yeah,
the ground and hold me
he
down.
asked to be put there. He would 100% ask to be
What?
put there. And then this is my entire thing with this, Adam. It's like that's what the catalyst was to start off all the BLM rioting. And then we go to Jacob Blake, who was armed with a knife, which is why police shot him. There was a
Yep.
lot going on in that situation.
No. That not just that. You can't even say it like that. He had a knife. They were fighting with him. He dropped the knife. He picked it back up. They still didn't shoot him. He then ran away from them to get into his car. They were
With
warning
kids
him
in
not
it.
to do that.
There was kids in the
Then
car.
he
By the
opened
way.
the car door and reached inside, and then they shot him. It's like it's so much worse. And those cops got off scot-free because they didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm. And so what we're seeing right now is essentially mob rule, because BLM got away with this last year. They got away with it with the Derek Chauvin trial. They know that they can use a violence, and they can use arson and looting and a corrupt prosecution who will stand up for what is wrong, as we clearly saw, this past week, to enact what they want in this country. And that's not how the U.S. justice system should work. This isn't a country that should be ruled by the mob. But as we are currently seeing, this is where we're at now.
Well, they want democracy, don't they? That's what democracy is. It's mob rule.
Yeah.
It's the people, the most percentage says, and that's what goes. And I don't think they understand what that means, what a democracy is. I mean, that's the fall of Rome, because people are idiots. People are stupid. I mean, for the most part, the average intelligence of a human being, it's probably lower than you think. And half the people think that they're smarter than that, which is a great line from George Carlin. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you some of these examples. You mentioned this crowd that's now gathering outside of the courthouse. It's kind of disgusting what they're chanting, what they're saying, why they're there. Okay. First and foremost, Black Lives Matter is now there chanting, Black Lives Matter. And it's like, what does that have anything to do with this trial at all? He was
Adam, did you see? I don't know who it was, but it was some blue checkmark liberal on Twitter who said, think about giving your Black employees a day or two off after the verdict, whether or not Kyle Rittenhouse is found guilty, because it's going to be really hard for them to get through this day. Let me see if I can find it while you
please find that, because
I have to show this to you because it's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Do you see this Babylon Bee article? Check this out. This is hilarious. Kyle Rittenhouse asked to step outside to defend the courthouse while verdict is being read. And it's just, they've got him sitting out there. I mean, that's funny and also quite sad that's the satire. And also, if those 500 troops that are being sent to calm what could happen were there in the first place, Kyle would never be in this situation.
Exactly. A lot of people are pointing out the fact too that if we had if we had law enforcement, like you said, if we had an actual police force that wasn't severely defunded, maybe, this entire situation wouldn't have happened. But it's so funny because we had Joe Scarborough go on his show yesterday, or it was the day before yesterday, and basically say that Kyle Rittenhouse unloaded 60 rounds. And he since came out and corrected that. But he goes on to say, what can we do as a society to keep this from happening again, where some 17-year-old kid feels the need to go wave around an AR-15? What can we do? Because this was an atrocity committed by Kyle Rittenhouse, not all the arsonists, rioters, and looters who were burning down Kenosha. No,
the people that were trying to kill him.
Yeah, that too. Adam, my favorite video on the internet, probably forever, is of Binger going, what did Rosenbaum do that was so bad? He tipped over a porta potty, swung a chain around, lit something on fire. Also, Binger forgot to add, attempted to murder Kyle Rittenhouse, allegedly.
Diddled children.
Yeah. We're killing people for that now, guys? Really? Since when have we been against burning down an entire city? That's the prosecution in this case. It's freaking
Dude, the
hilarious.
prosecution is embarrassing. But
I know.
you did mention these people, and I wanna show you guys the crazy people that are out there that are deifying these people. Look at this. I couldn't believe when I first saw this. This is a video I'm about to play for you guys, but just let that sink in real quick. That is all three of there's two that have been killed because they tried to kill Kyle Rittenhouse and he defended himself and killed them first. And then, of course, there actually should be a lack of bicep right there, which should be more accurate. But listen to this.
With this sign in particular, you're calling Joseph Rosenbaum a hero. There's kind of been questions about why you would call him a hero, considering his criminal history involving minors since he's a convicted sex offender.
Sure. So my answer to that is what it says right here. On August 25th, 2020, they were selfless heroes. They could have saved.
Sorry, selfless heroes. She calls these three. But continue, please.
Could have saved dozens of lives. I would never jump in front of a guy with an AR-15 strapped on him. And so they were heroes. And I'm sick and tired of everybody making
countless lives these guys saved because they jumped in front of a man with an AR-15 strapped to his chest.
Like they, like deserved to die. They were good for nothing. They were useless. No, they weren't.
Yes, they were.
They were unbelievably brave, courageous individuals.
Okay,
Gosh.
Unbelievably brave individuals. Wow. For trying to kill somebody. They were brave. Unbelievably. Can you guys believe what you just saw? When I first saw that, I couldn't believe it. I was like in shock. And look, regardless of what she looks like, I see a lot of people on the internet like, well, look at her. She looks crazy. I don't like ad hominems. I don't care about what someone looks like. You can't do that. You're losing an argument to me as soon as you go, they look crazy. Although some people do look crazy. No, I'm not going to deny that from you guys, but it's like you have to focus on what she's saying because that's the important part.
Yeah.
She truly believes that Kyle Rittenhouse was in Kenosha to shoot people, waving around an AR-15. I wouldn't have jumped in front of a man waving an AR-15 around. Well, who was doing that? Who are you talking about? Because Kyle Rittenhouse, he didn't go there to shoot people. Okay, but they believe it. They think he was a mass shooter. It's not over. It's not over. It's just I gotta let it play.
And so nothing about his past criminal sex behavior.
I care about what happened on this day, and you know what else? He's not here anymore. So why do we even have to bring all that up? Seriously, that's nothing but hate talk. And unnecessary.
What's that hate talk?
It's unnecessary. We all have it. I've got a criminal record.
Okay. Now we're getting into the crazy other woman now they're talking over each other. They don't even know what they're saying. Now they're just like, blah, 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 blah. Like,
yeah,
whoa.
and I don't think that being a child predator is like a small issue.
Right.
Just don't bring it up. That's not really a small issue that you can just brush aside.
Well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, he was trying to assault another minor. I mean, that's really, if you want to get to the details.
Oh, they all have histories of crimes and, repeated domestic abuse. Well, that's not relevant to this. That's not relevant to a self-defense case at all.
Sure, but you know what is relevant, Miss want to defend pedophiles and abusers? They were all trying to kill Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
One of them even stated it earlier in the night. If I catch you alone, I'm going to kill you. He added some swear words in there, but he drove that point home and chased him down. And Kyle Rittenhouse continued to run after that. He kept running and they were chasing him. And then he got kicked and hit with a skateboard and someone pulled a gun on him and he defended himself.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's absolutely ridiculous, Adam, to listen to these people. And until probably the end of last week, a large majority of Americans didn't even know that the men that Kyle Rittenhouse shot were white. They thought that they were black men. There was a large portion of Americans who
Yep,
probably still think that.
they
And
still do.
also, look at how the media has been framing this entire thing. They're saying, oh, Rittenhouse crossed state lines. He was 30 minutes away. His family lives in that community. He
Yep,
volunteered there. He
yep,
worked there. So
yep,
the media, because again, going back to Joe Scarborough, because this pissed me off, he goes,
yep.
oh, well, what's to stop, another 17-year-old from going from Florida to Georgia during the next riot? And it's like, that is not a fair analysis to make, because you're acting like, for example, here in Texas, it takes like 7 hours to drive out of this state,
To
right?
drive anywhere. Come on, be honest.
Exactly. But they're acting like Kyle, like the rioters, drove across state lines for hours and hours to go attend this riot, when in reality, that was his community. But the media has been allowed to run rampant with this narrative. YouTube was censoring independent streams, even Rakita Laws, because why? They've lost control of this narrative just because the prosecution's been so bad. And so now they're having to resort to censorship.
Yep. Yeah, and for those who weren't aware, yesterday during the Rakita stream, they cut him off because of copyright issues on a public trial from a public channel.
Such BS.
Why? And it was only small accounts, which Rakita's technically, comparing to these huge million subbed news channels, would be considered a small channel, but he had the largest concurrent viewers of anybody. Right? He beat out everyone else because people wanted to hear real lawyers talking about what was happening, explaining what was happening so that you can understand it. It's amazing. I've been watching it all week, and I still have it up right now for those wondering if the judge comes back, and it seems like I don't know what's going on right there. It seems to be loading. If the judge does come back, I am going to cut to it live and listen to what they're going to say.
And Adam, you made such an important point there too. You said people want to watch a stream with actual lawyers talking about what's going on here.
Yeah.
Because the average American right now is listening to the media. And is the media bringing self-defense lawyers onto their channels and their shows to talk about this entire trial? No, we're hearing from the likes of Joy Reid, Joe Scarborough, Anna Navarro, LeBron James. None of these people, from as far as I'm concerned, are defense lawyers or probably even know how to use a gun, just like Binger, who was pointing a gun at the jury with his finger on the trigger. Like, what episode of South Park are we living through right now?
Yeah, that guy. You know what? Let me pull a picture up, so just in case people miss that.
Yeah,
because it is absolutely ridiculous. This is the prosecutor.
Oh
all right, this is what she's talking about. The prosecutor, okay, the person trying to prosecute someone on holding a gun, and ARs are so scary. Has absolutely no trigger discipline. He had his finger on the trigger. Now, some people are saying he pointed the gun at the jury. I don't think he pointed it directly at the jury, but the fact that he picked up the gun and put his finger on the trigger. Here, this is it right here. Check us out. Keep your finger off the trigger. I mean, it's kind of funny because it's little Binger.
I see.
But look at that. He straight up picks up this gun and puts his finger on the trigger. It's like, you don't do that. You don't do that. He just picked it up. What if it was loaded? Not that the chances of it being loaded after being in evidence and whatever, it doesn't matter. You just do not do that. Right, Alec Baldwin?
Oh my gosh, I was waiting for you to say that. I was like, or you end up like
soon?
Alec Baldwin. No, it's not too soon, because if Alec Baldwin adhered to the number one rule of gun safety, even if it's a prop gun, even if someone tells you, hey, this gun, it's not loaded, it's safe, feel free to do whatever with it, you always check for yourself and you do not put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Like, that is the basics, like the absolute basic rule of gun safety, like the first thing you're taught.
Yep, absolutely. Check if it's loaded. Don't point it at anyone.
Don't put your finger on the trigger.
Who is he pointing it at? I mean, just come on, man. What are you doing? But I want to continue. I am going to be paying attention to this. It seems like they let the jury go for the night, from what I'm seeing. I don't know if that's true or not, because let me just show you guys what I'm looking at. It doesn't. This is what they show when you're not supposed to see what's going on in the courtroom. So I'm thinking, and from what I'm seeing in the comments over here, comments in my channel, it seems like what's happening is they're going to let the jury go for the night, and then they're going to come back tomorrow. So we'll, I'll be paying close attention to it. Of course, if whatever happens tomorrow, I'll report on tomorrow. But I do want to continue on showing you guys what these people are doing for these people that Kyle defended himself against. And that's kind of how I want to keep saying it too, because murder is a very specific thing, right? He didn't murder anybody. He stopped someone from hurting him. Okay.
Because don't you have to have intent to murder somebody? Isn't that a part
Right.
of that?
Correct. Right. Exactly. Or else it's involuntary manslaughter, right, would be the thing. But I'm not a lawyer, right? So like, I'm not trying to make any claims about really understanding it all. But from what I do understand, it would be manslaughter, if anything. Like if you get in a car accident and someone dies and the accident was your fault, that would be involuntary manslaughter, which, there's still penalties to that, because driving a car is, driving around a tonnage of death machine if you don't know what you're doing. But look at this. It's so crazy what these people are doing. Now they've got these like really clean photo pictures. Look, heroes killed while standing up for Black lives and justice in the beautiful rising. What?
Oh my gosh. Adam, have you been following Tariq Nasheed's Twitter account by chance?
I can't follow that guy. He is ridiculous.
He has been saying that
Please tell me. I don't.
This is going to piss you off. So he's been saying that these white men who died for Black justice can be equated to the white men who died during Jim Crow era, that were standing up for the Black community. And that is how they are framing these people.
What? Rosenbaum was screaming the N-word with the hard R, saying, "I want to kill you guys." How is that standing up for justice? What is that? No, the dude was unhinged and crazy, saying, "I'm going to kill you guys." Like, how is that standing up for justice at all? No, they're just painting that picture so all of their clueless plebs that believe all that stuff are going, yeah. Oh, okay. They're heroes, huh? All right. Well, yeah, I'm going to stand up for them. All right. You're standing up for a pedophile who was trying to kill Kyle, and Kyle was defending himself. They don't care. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about they care about their worldview being solidified and backed up, right? That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah. And you know what, Adam? I think the saddest part of this whole entire trial is that if you are a supporter of Kyle Rittenhouse and you wanted to go in front of the courthouse and stand in support of Kyle, you would be public enemy number one. And that is just further confirmation that we don't have the First Amendment in this country anymore, because we now have the Democrats and liberals, domestic terrorists roaming the streets, who will come and shut you down if you have the wrong political opinion, because we all know this is a political trial.
Funny you should mention it. Here's a video of a woman standing with a sign for Kyle.
I'm getting PTSD watching this.
I was about to ask. I mean, this looks exactly like what you dealt with when you went out to defend police officers last year. And props to you, because I remember that's when I first, you first got on my radar. I'm like, this girl is standing out on by herself, holding up a sign in front of these protesters, saying "Police Lives Matter," right? Is that your first sign that you posted?
And I went to stand in solidarity for David Dorn, the police officer who was murdered by Black Lives Matter domestic terrorists.
Yes, exactly. Justice for David Dorn? No, he was a cop, and that doesn't support our narrative. So whatever. It's like, okay, so you're telling me you're out there screaming all Black Lives Matter, except the ones that don't follow our narrative, right? Is that why David Dorn doesn't matter? Or Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy over in California? You freaking crazy people. Like, what? Their logic doesn't make sense. Kyle is being labeled a white supremacist because he defended himself against 3 white guys who were trying to kill him. And he was there to help clean up. He was scrubbing graffiti off. He was there to help in Kenosha, because, as you said earlier, his dad lives in Kenosha. He works in Kenosha. It's his local city. So it's not you know, he lives outside of Kenosha. It's like living in the burbs and driving into the city. It's like, oh, you crossed state lines though. And it's like suddenly, of course, borders matter to these people.
And Adam, let's take this a step further too, because you talked
Go on.
about how they're trying to frame Kyle Rittenhouse as a white
Yeah.
supremacist. Well, when the judge's ringtone went off and it was "God Bless America," they were
yeah.
trying to say that he needed to be taken out of the trial because he was biased. So apparently, loving America and loving your country is now a biased thing. And we all
Yep.
know that these people continue to link the love of America to white supremacy. And that's how they've been trying to frame this judge. Again, going back to Tariq Nasheed, he put up the judge with the picture going like this because he's talking with his hands, and he goes, "Many think this judge is a known white supremacist. Could this picture prove that?" And so that's the
There's a
mental
picture
gymnastics.
of everyone doing it.
I know.
Biden,
I know.
Psaki. I mean, literally anyone has done that before because it's like a hand gesture.
In Biden's
It's
defense,
also
he probably,
the okay sign. Sorry, please.
No, I was just going to say, in Biden's defense, he probably is a white supremacist. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Well, he's the most racist politician I've ever seen. That's for sure.
Yeah, remember that, what is it? Black kids are just as bright as rich kids or something?
No,
Or
it's poor kids are just as smart
as rich kids.
white as white kids.
Oh, yeah.
Poor kids are just as white or just as smart as white kids.
We
It's
butchered
so
that, like,
ridiculous that I
50
didn't remember it properly. You know, I did this last week, and I was like, I know he was basically
like
making a crack towards black people and
trying to reiterate Joe
but
Biden immediately just gives you dementia. You're like, wait, no, can't do it. Too confusing.
it's like, you know, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. It's like, dude, you're so racist. It's insane. I'm so sick of the pronouns and the what is it? Prefixes, you know? Can't we all just be American? If you're an American, you're an American. Can we just go with that? Well, you want to know my nationality? American. All right? That's what I'm going to say from now on. You want to know my nationality? I'm American. Period. Peace. Done. Conversation over. Well, what's your heritage? Why do you need to know my heritage, huh? So you can put me in some bracket and divide us up? I'm sick of that. I'm so sick of this. These people don't want to. They don't want us to be united. They don't want to be the United States anymore. They want to be divided. Get out of here with that.
At this point, I'm like, you're either pro-freedom or you're anti-freedom. Like, that's it. Those are
Good
the
point.
two options here. You either want to live your life, you want to have your First Amendment, you want to have your gun rights, you want to have your right to go to work unmandated, or you want to be governed by daddy government for the rest of your life and by these elite and powerful politicians who are all being paid off by the same companies where everything is being forced on you. Like, come on, guys, let's connect the dots here. Those are your two options. You're either pro-freedom or you're not. There's nothing else.
This is Joseph Rosenbaum, who was shot in the head and killed by Kyle Rittenhouse, which conservatives are celebrating across the internet. Now, of course, I have a lot of conservatives that follow me that are saying, no, I am definitely celebrating it. But I wrote, there's a big difference between celebrating and not giving a shit that a pedo was killed by someone defending themselves, especially when that same pedo was saying if he caught them alone, he would kill them. I mean, sorry for swearing so much. I think I already did in the show. Sometimes I can't help myself. And
It's warranted.
I'm not celebrating death. I don't. I am celebrating that Kyle is still alive. I'll tell you that, because he actually is out there trying to help. Look at this. Actually, this is floating around. Let me find this picture. This is Kyle. And he successfully completed a cadet program through the Antioch Fire Department and the Grays Lake Police Department. Also worked at a YMCA lifeguard and an EMT trainee. That is an upstanding citizen. He is actually a patriot. He was out there trying to help stop people burning down Kenosha, regardless of what these crazy people think, that it was actually burning down. All right, people's livelihoods were being burnt all summer.
Yeah.
I know you were on the ground reporting on a lot of that last year, and I appreciate that footage. I shared a lot of it before President Trump, actually reposted one of your things, and Twitter banned you for it. Why? Because this big tech conglomerates out there don't want people to know the truth, the real narrative of what's going on out there. Savanah was banned for it. You had over 100,000 followers, and you got pushed out because your footage was showing the true narrative. All right.
100%.
And they want to stop it. They don't want people to know the truth.
Exactly,
Crazy.
Adam. Exactly. And that's why I've been talking to you about the dangers of censorship, because a lot of national news would write articles about my footage and they would link the video. Now, if
Yep.
you go back, all of the video is gone. So it's just this article with nothing to back it up. And that's how the left is
Right.
able to rewrite history right there.
Good point. I
Mhm.
never even thought about that because you did have a lot of footage up there.
Yep.
Now, obviously, you probably still have the footage somewhere, but it's not publicly available. And I'm just going to take a second. Please go follow Savanah. She is awesome. Down below, you can find her Twitter which is okay. Twitter. It's her show's Twitter. All right.
So
It's
show
it's
Twitter.
it's for her show. All right,
Mhm.
not her. Because that I think that works. But also her YouTube channel. If you want to subscribe to her podcast, that's also down below. So you can find out all of her information down below, and also your locals page. Why don't you give a little shout out to your locals?
Savsays.locals.com. Go follow me over there. I just started it. I do a lot of exclusive live streams on there because I can't get banned, which is really nice. It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, locals is awesome. I really like locals myself. Of course, you can check out my locals, adamcrigler.locals.com. I post all of my description or all of my links, everything that I show and talk about on my show. I post over there in a nice little package. So anything you want to reference, if you see me talking about an article and I don't finish reading it and you want to finish reading it, or I reference something and you're like, I wanted to send that to a friend of mine, you can go over there on my locals page and share it as you see fit. But let's move on. All right. This whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing has been pressing and we've been talking about it constantly. So before I move on, I'm actually going to bring this up and just see what's happening right now.
Mm.
When Zoom was cooperating, Zoom crashed earlier today in the middle, or not Zoom.
Maybe they have the court muted
earlier. It was
It killed mine too.
Yep.
Oh,
Man.
no.
We stayed up. Sorry.
I'm going to tell everyone to smash the
fine.
like button.
I had
Hold on.
no chat.
Smash
And
that
couldn't
like
really
button.
maneuver very much.
I always
So-
love
There it
seeing
is.
you in the
Interesting,
chat
but
telling people to smash the like.
Okay,
What's
here
up,
we go.
Nate?
Hold on. Not sure what's happening here.
Okay, Judge, let's adjourn this day. Let's get through this. We can do
We
it.
got to adjourn the alternates too, though.
It seems like they're going to adjourn for the day then.
Are there
Okay.
any
Mhm.
alternates left alive after Jeopardy?
More Jeopardy.
All right, good evening, folks, and
They get
thank you
adjourned
for
when
your
they answer 3
patience
Jeopardy
and
questions.
your participation. And you're still at work and will be tomorrow. We're retiring for the evening and we'll return at 9 tomorrow morning. And even though you're under a continuing obligation not to talk with anyone about the case, not a fellow juror, not even all of the fellow jurors, and certainly not with anybody who's, when I say certainly, it kind of downgrades the prior statement. Just don't talk with anybody about the case. Read, watch, or listen to any account of it. We'll start at 9 a.m. Any questions, anybody?
Okay, so they're adjourning. They're adjourning for the night. Obviously, we don't have a verdict because they would definitely be talking about it. So I'll be paying attention tomorrow. It seems as there's no verdict, so I will probably, hopefully we'll have a verdict by tomorrow. I think it's going to be not guilty. That's what I am calling, because it seems like the jury's fearful of what's going to happen because he's not guilty of murder or anything. So we'll see.
I'm scrolling through Twitter here, and some people are saying that there's reports that the jurors can potentially hear the chants of BLM from outside. So, that's could be a reason why they're scared to make a decision. Who knows what's going to go on in this? But yeah, isn't it sad, Adam, that our justice system is so corrupt at this point where it doesn't even work anymore? And I wouldn't even say, I don't know if corrupt is the right word to use there, but basically we are living. Yeah, it's just mob rule, man. It's just mob rule.
It's crazy. It really is crazy.